But all right, we are going to talk The Last of Us, Season 1, Episode 5, Endure and Survive. I mean, it starts off,
Walker,
right?
I am sorry, you are wrong. This is not another Walking Dead episode. I disagree with you.
I 100% agree with him. Here's what I think. Keith, if you never saw The Walking Dead, I think you have now. They're doing a lot of the same kind of stuff that The Walking Dead did. I don't know if it's a blueprint or, where they get some ideas, but they are doing very similar episodes to The Walking Dead. But one thing, I hope I'm not spoiling anything by this comment.
Well, before you say it, spoilers, everybody.
Put it out there. We're going to be spoiling this whole episode. If you have not watched it by now, sorry, spoilers ahead for this episode of The Last of Us, and I guess probably The Walking Dead too, Dave.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Well, the difference between this show and The Walking Dead is the backup characters usually would last more than one episode. I think that these two are the only ones who have lasted, because everyone dies like at the end of the episode, it seems like, you know what I mean? Well, that one girl, I forget her name. She killed the doctor, leading the
Kathleen.
Bethany.
Kathleen. She made it 2 episodes at least. So, her and that other guy with the gun. But it reminded me a lot.
Her name was Kathleen, not Bethany.
Thank you.
Wasn't it?
I accidentally said that. I forgot her name.
Oh.
Okay.
It was Kathleen, yes.
Okay, good. I was like, wait a minute. Am I going crazy?
Well, yes, you are, but that's unrelated.
Don't mind if I do.
Fatherly Fandom says, what came out first, Walking Dead or The Last of Us? I think The Walking Dead, right?
As a comic, yeah, I believe so.
It was
the comic for The Walking Dead first. I'm not sure about the show.
The Last of Us came out originally on the PS3 in, 2011, I think? I don't remember.
The comic was 10 years ahead of the game. That's what Tundra Walker said. Yeah, to me, they're very similar. And, but that was like, those two surviving every show, and then why are they killing off everybody else? I mean, I'm not saying it's a mark against it. I'm just saying, let's have some characters last more than a show or two, I mean, there's Tommy, he's in Wyoming, he hasn't been on,
They do last a little bit, but it's also, defying convention a little bit by, people don't last long in this. They're not saving everybody. They're actually, it made sense. I would have been probably disappointed if after that attack, neither Henry or Sam got bit. That would have been a little unbelievable to me when they had him under the car pinned down. Yeah, I guess we're jumping to the end of the episode, but I would have been a little upset. And, seeing Ellie be like, oh, my blood is medicine, and rubbing it on him, thinking it was going to help.
She's a kid,
Exactly. I think, her innocence, we've talked about it before. I think we finally got to the end of her innocence. And I'm not just singing some, Don Henley song or something. Because you even saw at the end, when she's just like, she wrote, I'm sorry on the thing, throwing a grave, and she goes, let's just go. And I think she's finding out because every character in The Last of Us, I think they do a great job of making them very gray. Henry did some very bad things to help his brother. Mm-hmm. Joel did some very bad things that we're not sure all happened yet.
Also,
but I think
to help his brother.
Right. And that's what caused maybe the split with his brother. I don't think we've heard why he left, but I think that he kind of talked about it and, some of his past deeds. And it was nice to see him, even though he was initially very worried about Henry and his motives, he eventually came and said, okay, what you did in the past is the past. And basically kind of understanding, I might need you to get out of here. And, I can see you love your brother. And, the dad in him is coming out and being, I really should do something to help these people. And that's the part that I like. Every little bit of the show has very tense moments. When they're walking through the sewers. And it's every step I'm like, oh, something's going to jump out at us. And I think they do a good job of building that tension. And then, even when the kid wanted to run in where all the paintings were before they got into that room, he's like, stop. No. And he's being extra careful. seeing that is how I think someone would behave, especially outside of the EVs with all these people going on. Knowing that the Kansas City people drove them underground, I wouldn't believe they were all gone either. They just keep coming back.
So I haven't been entirely sure like what direction the show has been going to go into. So I keep wanting to compare it to the game and say, well, the reason this is happening is because this is what they do in the game. But I don't want to like hold it to that. I don't want to like basically say that it has, because they haven't stuck completely to the game. We've noticed that with episode 3. Totally veered off and changed the way that the game told the story. Even the creator said, God, why didn't I think of doing that? And the fact that, it's now been confirmed after these past 2 episodes that Joel does have some hearing loss, as he explained as he explained in the previous episode to this one, and then it was, confirmed as to what the repercussions were of that. But yeah, that was not in the game. In fact, he was like basically a superhero in the game. And so when they had first announced, they were saying, oh, we're going to make this into a TV show. The ongoing joke for a while was, how the hell are you going to translate Joel into a TV series? And this is how. They took away his superhuman strength and made it so now he's got hearing loss too, on top of it. So, and I like how he even mentions in the previous episode, when they're going up the stairs, he's like, shut up, you little shit, I'm 56.
And I love, too, when she's like, yeah, he always talks like an asshole. Ignore him. Then he says, she's like, come on.
He doesn't mean anything by it. That's just the way he sounds.
But as far as, like, whether anyone is going to live or die, I honestly didn't know. And I wasn't sure what to expect with Kathleen. She's not in the game. She was not a character in the game. She was created for the show. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if she was going to survive and make it out and then be an antagonist going forward. Somebody pointed out in the chat, who was that? Father of Fandom said, it ends up the survivors become the main antagonist. And yeah, that's true in both the game and the show, that they pointed that out time and time again. Yeah, you got to worry about the infected, but it's the other humans that you really have to worry about more. And so I kind of thought maybe that was the direction they were going to go into. I don't know who's going to live and who's going to die. I don't know how much they're going to veer from the game for the show to make this adaptation work for TV.
Well, so far it's just been Joel and Ellie get to live and everyone else gets to die. I'm waiting for that pattern to break.
Well,
we gotta have more constant characters.
Do you want game spoilers real quick?
Throw them out.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
All right. Well, if they do stick pretty closely to the game, then that's how it's going to remain. It's pretty much the game follows that the title, The Last of Us. It's because of that. They basically are the 2 remaining people. They're the survivors out of the humans, and it's just those 2 against the world.
That makes sense.
So if they stick with the story and the theme of the game, then that's probably how it's going to remain. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how closely they're going to stick to that.
Well, I mean,
that's kind of depressing.
I gotta admit, this week's episode was better than the previous 2. I liked it a lot more, but there were little things that stuck out to me, and it might be just editing. Like during the battle where they were, where Ellie and what was the boy's name? The little
Sam.
boy? Sam. Then when they were running away, and they tripped, and they turned around and looked behind them, and Kathleen was getting myrtleized. That's not even a word, but she was getting torn apart. Her face beat in. And that was a perfect distraction to just get up and run. But they sat there and watched. And then the thing looked up at them, and then it took after them again. I was like, what are you waiting for? But that might have been just an editing thing to show how she was reacting to it. I'm not sure. But that stuck out to me a little bit.
Just so you know, Dave, Arnold was just cashed in, and the timer is started.
Okay.
See, but I look at scenes like that.
I'm not going to say anything now.
With kids like that, they don't always know how to react in situations like that. being in the Marine Corps, they're always like, in this situation, do this. But then you find when you're in a situation, sometimes your mind is not thinking correctly. They might have been horrified by what they were seeing and been frozen with terror. So, I try to give them the benefit of the doubt that that's what they were intending and not like an editing issue or anything like that. I mean, it was pretty nice after not seeing any fungal zombies for a few episodes. They hinted at them with that stuff bubbling over yesterday, but when all of a sudden they just came pouring out of that hole, I expected just the one bloater to come out, and there was just hundreds of them. And the creepiest one of all was the kid zombie that was in the car with Ellie.
Doing backflips in the back seat and everything.
I was reading about that because I was like, who did that? There was a 12-year-old gymnast that did that for the show. They hired her because she could do that stuff. And she was like, I was just happy, to be in a show. And I was like, wow, because I was creeped out by that. I definitely watch a show after. No, what, Arnold?
I was thinking, get out of there. Get out of there now.
If only they had
your tortillas.
If only they had a chopper.
What?
If only they had a chopper.
If they had a chopper, they had to get to it.
Get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper.
I'm not gonna disagree with you that much about that, Tundra Walker. I was expecting more from the bloater. When he came out and he destroyed Perry and it was kind of wreaking havoc, I thought we might see more of that, but it was kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of under. No, I wouldn't say disappointing because what we saw was cool. A little underwhelming. Like it should have been, because I keep seeing parallels. I see scenes in the game or in the show, and I'm like, I would hate that. I would hate that in the game. Like when they're running around and he's sniper rifling them to keep them safe. I'm like, that would be annoying as hell in the game. But, I saw that when I saw that guy, I'm like, oh, there's going to be some cool stuff going on with this. And I understand they probably don't want to make it seem too much like a game, but I was expecting some, crazy stuff, some ingenuity by Joel and maybe Henry to get rid of the bloater. Or even, like I talked about the week before, them teaming up with the, rebels from Kansas City to help get rid of it. It just seemed like it was kind of like, okay, we're off, let's go.
Yeah,
let's go get a hotel.
I really thought they were going to team up with the rebels too, but it seemed like the rebels didn't want to do that. It seemed like, oh, no. Yeah, we see that we could be eaten alive by the zombie horde, but we're still going to shoot at you. Which, if total video game logic, by the way, that's straight out of any RPG thing where, I'll bring up Fallout again, as an example. Every now and again, you'll encounter two different, enemy factions. It might be a group of wild animals, and then you'll also see, raiders over here, and they'll both be fighting you. The wild animals might go after the raiders, but they're not going to stop shooting you for some reason. And it's when I saw that happening in the show, I'm like, I don't know if that's a joke that they're doing this, or, what their purpose was, but, yeah, I thought for sure it'd be okay, we're all humanity, we're going to try and survive as humanity, but then the rebels are like, yeah, no, we're going to still shoot at you. And it's like, you don't want to live, do you?
Listen, I have a headache, but it's not a tumor, right? And what they were doing when he was picking them people off, I thought he was just protecting Ellie, not the rest of them. Not Sam. And then when he might
have only been protecting Ellie.
Sam converted. I did not expect that at all.
So Tundra Walker brings up the costume. He said in the chat that he thinks they recycled the costume from the Thing from the 1990 Fantastic Four movie. No, they definitely didn't do that. But I will take this opportunity to point out one of the things that I thought was cool is you are right. It is a costume that was all practical effects. That was not CG like we're so used to seeing in so many of these shows. It was actually nice to see them put a person in a costume and makeup and have him lumbering around, tossing people around. That was great. That was a nice change. Yeah, it may have been a little underwhelming. It wasn't it wasn't as big of a deal as the bloaters in the game where...
Hey, Doug, just 1 minute. Time's up, Arnold.
Oh, good.
It's not like the game where you're basically unloading all of your ammo in order to try and take this thing down. In fact, I was just watching our friend, Terrible Gaming. He's playing The Last of Us right now, and he was in one of the many buildings that Bill set up as a trap, and he's running around trying to fight a bloater. And this bullets are not taking it down. Like, usually 1 or 2 shots will take out a clicker, right? You know, you shoot it in the head, they're done. But the bloaters, they're so covered in so much fungus that it takes forever to take them out. And it seemed like that was the case, at least for the most part, in the show as well. They weren't going down with just one hit.
When I was watching this, I was thinking, and it's such despair with Henry and all the crap that they were going through at the beginning of the episode and having to sneak around. And I was thinking, why, if you were in that position yourself, would you want to live? You know, that's what your future is. That's what your whole planet's going to be for the future. Would you want to stay alive? I don't think I would. I wouldn't want to look forward to a future of that day in and day out. I'd be like, I've had enough.
See, I would, and I hate to be the silver lining guy. I would think, okay, things can get better. We can find a way to get better. We're going to, especially with Ellie, thinking maybe they're going to find something to help cure and stop this. I don't want to call it a pandemic, but whatever it is, I would think
it's pandemic.
There's going to be better stuff, or I'm going to find another Bill hideout and I'm going to have steak and watch, clickers get destroyed by my traps, and I think maybe that was, Henry's motivation too. Hey, there's better things coming. I think a lot of people that were part of the Kansas City resistance were probably like, as soon as we take down the Nazis, basically, everything is going to get better. And maybe it never does, but at least you have some hope that kind of leads into it. I can only assume that's, because even Ellie was talking about it with Joel. She's like, why continue? If it's just like, well, you do. And I think, everyone thinks this is going to end at some point or things are going to get better. They hold on to memories of the past, being able to come home and crack a beer and, cook some food and sit down and zone out in front of the tube to an episode of The Mandalorian or something. And by the way, I don't know if you guys saw that meme. Someone said, AI's decided that by 2043, every show will be Pedro Pascal, taking a magic kid across.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That would be great. I think I saw a TikTok video actually over the weekend. Someone was saying to their friend, like, hey, have you seen the new Pedro Pascal show? Oh, which one? The one where he's basically a father figure to an adoptive child. Which one? Well, the one where the kid, they have some sort of ability that other people want to get a hold of. Which one?
He even did that in Wonder Woman. What did I say?
Barely. Yeah, barely. What? Wait, why did he want the Wish Stone in Wonder Woman again? It wasn't for his kid, was it?
Oh, jeez.
Did he have any reason?
You're gonna make me think about that movie?
Oh God! Well,
yeah,
you
Doug, what are you
up.
doing?
It's your fault.
What did he want?
I don't remember. I know he was obsessed with the Witch Stone to the point where he had studied it and he knew more about it than Dr. Minerva did.
Yeah.
But, like, why did he want it? I don't remember what his reasoning was.
I'm not going to watch it again to find out either. But, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you're right,
That's
Tundra
crazy.
Walker. If you grew up on one costume Godzilla, you never want to give up CGI Godzilla even for one episode.
Well, that's your choice.
But also, costume Godzilla did not look as good as the costume Bloater. I thought the Bloater looked pretty good. Especially his movements were nice, and I thought they did a good job. It was kind of like a lot of the practical effects we get on The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
Did you like the way he moved, Keith?
I did.
I
like the
way you move. Ba-dum-bum. I like the way you move. Ba-dum-bum. Oh, we're gonna get demonetized.
So good night, everybody. Thanks for coming out.
But But there is one other thing that I do want to talk about for The Last of Us, and that's talking about Kathleen's group. Because so Dave posed the question, like why would you want to keep on living in this world that that is this terrible? And Joel kind of gave his explanation, like, I do it for family. That's my motivation. I do it for family. And even though he called Ellie cargo, which, damn, poor kid. I think eventually he is going to see her more like family, but yeah, I don't really know what everybody else's motivation is, but I think for me personally, it would just be pure stubbornness. I don't know that I would last very long. Probably not, but I would try to hold out for as long as I could, just out of pure stubbornness. Like, I don't want to give up. I'm not ready to give up. But then that also poses, another question. These people that were collaborators, or as Joel put it, he called them rats, that worked with Fedra in order to, help put down any sort of rebellion. What if you were in a similar situation? What if, Fedra had offered you medicine that you needed for a family member, or food, or something that you needed for personal survival? Would you work with them? Would you be a collaborator, or would you help whatever sort of rebel group was trying to take them down?
If I had made the decision to stay alive, then I probably, yeah, I probably do whatever it took to stay healthy and alive. Because if you're bogged down by some injury or illness, then, and you've already decided that you want to stay alive, then you're gonna need the cure. You're gonna need to be in top shape to get away from the fungal. What do you think,
See,
Keith?
if it was me, I wouldn't do it. If it was to save me, I wouldn't do it. Not that I wouldn't want to live, but if it was like a younger brother or my son, something along those lines, I would definitely do it. Because I would be okay with me suffering and passing away. I wouldn't, I wouldn't turn anybody in to save myself. But it was like in Henry's situation with Sam with his younger brother, I can see why he did it, and I would do the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Should we talk about the final scene with Henry and Sam?
That was the scene that reminded me of The Walking Dead, by the way.
That was so friggin' dark.
Yeah.
There was that split second when he was sitting on the bed and wasn't responding to Ellie. When I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, he's deaf. Is he just not hearing her? I'm like, I know he's not. I know he's. And then he turned around and like attacked her. And then I was just praying that it wasn't going to be Joel that took him down. Buddy, what are you doing? No, don't get behind the chair. Come on, bud. Sully Van. You can't go too far with that.
Walker says that's the whole reason he was deaf, was for that one scene.
And it may have been because it definitely added that point of, okay, what's going to happen? Do not go behind my chair, bud. Come on. I've asked you twice now. So, and then to see, that whole time, I'm like, Sully does not have any open wounds. He got his hair cut.
Definitely don't put your blood in it.
Yeah. But then the Henry to be the one that puts him down, and then really so distraught over what happened, all that he did to get Sam to that point, and it come to that, it was gut wrenching watching it. I was like, wow, that's just well done, HBO.
I mean, again, it's another situation, and Dave, you are correct that it would be something that I would expect to see in The Walking Dead, or probably any other zombie thing. In fact, I'm pretty sure they did that in which one of the zombie movies was it where they were trapped in the mall, or they were like hiding out in the mall?
28 Days Later?
They might have that I've never actually seen 28 Days Later. It was one of the Dawn of the Deads or Day of the Deads or something like that.
Oh, that's a Zack Snyder movie. Dawn of the Dead?
Was it Zack Snyder?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Written by James Gunn.
Huh?
Written by James Gunn.
Was it? What are the friggin' odds? Are you kidding? Or are you guys messing with me?
No, I'm not. Check it out.
Jesus. Okay. Well, anyway, like at one point in there, like they've all gotten kind of close. Like they're not really like a family, but they're a group that's committed to each other's survival. and at one point, one of them gets bit, and I think that everybody's kind of... That's right, it was one guy's wife. She got bit, and he was, like, in denial. He didn't want to have to shoot his own wife. Like, he was, like, trying to keep her alive and keep her hidden from everybody else, and I think eventually he ended up having to shoot her. And, you see that in a lot of these... It's this conundrum that I think works perfect in a sort of zombie survival setting. Like, what if somebody that you love suddenly gets infected? What do you do? I mean, they're already dead, but you're put into the position where now you have to end their new life as a zombie, because otherwise they're just going to hurt more people. And it's still like, I mean, putting yourself in that kind of position where you would have to do that, that's got to be tough. I don't know that I don't know if I could handle it. I don't know how I would react. Like if I saw my sister, get bit by a fungal vampire, and suddenly, I've got to be the one who has to put a bullet in her. Like, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know what I would be like in that situation.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think they did a good job in making it be Henry, because if it was Joel, because I thought they were both going to turn, and it was going to be Joel saving Ellie from both of them, but having him do it and then his reaction to what he had just done, I thought was executed perfectly. I was like, man, that show ended, and I was just like,
dude, you
I just sat in the dark.
And the look of trauma on Ellie's face. I mean, God, it makes you, I know it's a TV show, but thinking about it as if she was a real person, that's some expert acting right there. That was some top tier acting. Just the look on her face that just spoke of, oh my God, I almost died because this kid tore me apart, and I thought for sure I had saved him, and then I had to watch a guy blow his brains out in front of me. Like, that'll mess anybody up. I mean, wow.
Would you say this is the end of the innocence?
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. But that was rough. That was definitely a dark ending.
I don't know if I'd say it like that, Keith.
Yeah, probably something that you could expect to see in The Walking Dead or any of those other zombie movies or any other survival genre of movie or TV show. It's just, I think, a fact of life that people in any sort of apocalyptic situation would probably have to deal with, unfortunately. Having to grow up quick and lose your innocence.
Sandra Walker. That'd be perfect for this show. Did you get it? Did you hit the button?
Oh man, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh darn it.
Did it have to do with the boy or Ellie?
Or dystopian futures?
Oh yeah, thank you. Yes. Speaking of going back to, I would love, it would be like almost Fallout in VR, living in that world. Like going into the hotels, what can I find in here? Looking through every room. Because that's what I did in every Fallout game. You come across something, there was no stone unturned. A friend of mine was watching me play Fallout 3 one time, and he's like, this is the boringest game I've ever seen. I'm like, shh, shut up. So I have to look in this last toilet stall in this 7th bathroom in this hotel because there could be something good. Oh, yeah.
Keith's like, I made it to the roof. Now I can fall.
No, Keith's not wrong about that. What's funny about Bethesda, they have issues making games. They usually release buggy messes, but their game designers are really fun with the little, I struggle to call them stories, but little scenes that they set up. Like Keith is talking about in toilet stalls, every now and again you'll just be opening toilet stalls and you'll see like plungers stuck on all the walls, or you'll see a teddy bear sitting on the toilet holding a knife, and it's like, why? What is this here for?
Because
you grab the knife.
Yeah. Keith,
you may be able to sell it for some fun Nuka-Cola caps.
Keith exploring those areas is what makes it fun for the guys who write those games.
Oh yeah, because they want you to. That's what they put it there for, right?
Exactly.
They want you to explore. They want you to find their little inside joke that they're chuckling about.
And then, you get full and you have to go back to whatever town you've been working at and sell all the stuff and then go back and like, okay, where did I leave off? I'll just start from the beginning.
So in Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, it's easier to not hang on to things. Fallout New Vegas, you definitely wanted to hang on to guns because they introduced a new feature where you were able to repair your guns by using the parts from other guns that you found. So you definitely would increase your carry weight by hanging on to a whole pile of guns. Fallout 3, you really didn't have to do that. There was no scrap system. There was no junk system. There was no weapon repair using other guns that I remember.
There wasn't.
But Fallout 4, they changed it where everything had value. And so what Keith is talking about, going back to like your base of operation, you're constantly doing that. And you have to decide now, do I want to increase my skill of being able to shoot? Or do I want to increase my carry weight? Because I saw a couple of fans in that store, yeah. And I can break those down for screws and metal. So,
and I can build something nice.
I could totally build a wall with that or something.
I don't look for the roofs. I'm on them and I fall. It's just how I play.
Hey, that's I'm going in there.
I think we pointed this out in episode 2 or 3. No, it was episode 3 when Joel and Ellie stop at the gas station, and he's not taking everything with him. He's putting that rifle back in the floorboards, and I'm glad that they do. Again, they're trying to separate it from video game logic, and he's like, "Look, ammo is hard to come by. I'm barely going to find any for this gun. Why would I carry it around?" In a video game, you don't have to worry about that, obviously, because you've got like a dimensional black hole pocket where you can store all of your stuff. And, in reality, you'd be 16 rifles on each shoulder, a bunch of guns on your Batman utility belt. And
see, now I'm going to make that Rick and Morty reference.
Which one?
Where the guy had the portal in his thigh.
Oh.
And that was his stash hole.
Yeah, right.
And then Morty got it on his hand and it all fell out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that would be what you carry around in a video game. It's never-ending switching them up, the weapons.
Right. Gonna be honest, the stash hole might not be so bad.
Yeah.
And yes, Tundra Walker, I could never be a sniper because I would fall off wherever I'm at.
They aren't all coordinated enough to walk on roofs.
Hey, don't make me eat a few crayons here tonight to prove to you.
I like wax.
Oh, jeez.
The blue ones are the tastiest.
Keith, did they have that joke when you were a Marine, the whole eating crayons thing? Or?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that had started, while you were a Marine, like before it or after it or what. I remember it was like an ongoing joke when I was in the Army. We used to make fun of the Navy for their midday costume changes, and the Marines, for being Marines, and the Air Force for, it's a tad bit chilly outside, fellas. What say we skip PT this morning and wait for a much warmer day?
We would always call it swing with the wing. And then the Army, we always said, be all you can be when that's all you can be.
Oh.
I'm sure your dad and sister agree with me, Doug.
They probably do.
All right. We got anything else to talk about for The Last of Us?
I think we pretty much covered all the points. So we talked a little bit about the rebels and Kathleen. Talked about the boy and getting bit and turning it. Let's see. We kind of touched on Ellie thinking that she had magic blood and treating it the way that any kid would, thinking that all they have to do is rub it in the wound and that's going to solve it. But I think we pretty much covered everything. We talked about the bloater.
Do you think that maybe expedited it, that she put her blood in there? Because just because she doesn't get infected doesn't mean when she puts her blood on somebody else that they don't.
Well, again, I don't know what direction they're going to go with the show. They they never said it outright, but it was implied in the games that it's not so much that her blood is a cure. It makes it so... I think what it was is she had actually caught a different version of Cordyceps that negated any other type of Cordyceps. And that's the way that it worked. So she had another... It wasn't that she wasn't infected, it's that she had already been infected, and that's why she showed up as, red on the meter. She had been infected, but by a different version of Cordyceps, not the one that turns into a zombie. And once you get another type of... No, doesn't turn you into anything. But yeah, I guess once you get any form of this fungus in your system, it basically blocks any others from getting into you. So I think that's what they implied in the game. I don't know if that's the direction they're going to go with the show.
Gotcha.
And we did see that if you stayed around, it does look like they get to Wyoming in the next episode, which I was a little shocked by.
I saw a preview for the next episode.
Because I thought for sure they would get there, like episode 9. But they're getting there episode 6, so they're going to have like 4 episodes of working with his brother or figuring out what happened. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next 4 episodes, because I thought this whole season was going to be them traveling there and then like end up at the end, get there, and then, see you season 2.
Well, I thought so too, and now I'm starting to wonder, when Pedro Pascal made that sort of offhanded comment saying that season 2 was going to deal with The Last of Us Part 2, I thought maybe he, I'm like, oh no, they couldn't already be moving on to the next game. There's no way that... But now I'm starting to wonder, is that really what they're going to do? Is season 1 literally going to be... Are they going to cram the entirety of the whole first game into one single season of a show? So, I don't know now.
It sounds like they might.
Crazy.
Which,
all right.
4 episodes left to complete the game.
And don't forget to hit us up at Twitter, leave a comment down below, and we will see you next time on Not Your Status Quo.